Isn't it strange? This industry built on finding yourself can actually feel like it's designed to make you feel even more lost. I mean, the self-help world started out with some beautiful intentions, guides to self-discovery, ways to find fulfillment, navigate challenges. But look at it now. Endless hacks for productivity, no excuses discipline, visualizations of impossible success, life advice TikToks that tell you to crush every day. Somewhere along the line, self-help became self-harsh. It started focusing on what's wrong with you rather than what's right with you, telling you that your worth comes from fixing and optimizing, as if we're all products with parts that need upgrading. You know, I once thought self-help was the map to personal growth. But lately, it feels more like a trap. Why? Because it plays on our insecurities in such a clever way. There's always another level to unlock. Always something that isn't quite right. You thought you'd feel satisfied if you could only wake up at 5 a.m. every day, then suddenly you're told that you're still not living up to your potential if you're not also meditating for an hour and squeezing in a triathlon. There's this myth that you're never enough, the foundation of so many books and programs. And it's sold to us as motivation. But is it? You start to see a pattern. It's like an addiction to bettering yourself, but with diminishing returns. There's always some new book, a new guru, a shiny new habit that will supposedly transform everything. It's tempting, so tempting, to chase that promise. But the more we buy in, the more it convinces us that who we are right now is flawed, incomplete, and broken. And you know what? That's actually good for business. If you ever really, truly felt enough for long enough, a lot of these industries would lose their grip on you. They don't profit from our self-acceptance, they profit from our self-doubt. Of course, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement. Wanting to grow is natural, human. We want to learn, to be more resilient, to do the things that matter to us. But self-help now isn't really interested in helping you be who you are, it wants to sell you who you could be. It's a conveyor belt of aspirations where the ideal version of you keeps shifting. What does that even mean? The best version of yourself? Isn't that always going to be subjective, and honestly, impossible to capture fully? Yet, there it is, staring back at you from 1,000 book covers. And every day, we measure ourselves against it and, somehow, always come up short. It took me a long time to recognize this trap. For years, I thought that if I just tried a little harder, if I just stayed disciplined like they said, I'd finally reach that mythical place of balance. I'd be content. But instead, I felt exhausted and constantly guilty for not doing enough. Sound familiar? And here's the kicker, that feeling of guilt, it becomes addictive, too. You actually start to believe that it's what's driving you. Like if you're not guilt-ridden about not working out or not journaling or whatever, you're somehow failing at self-care. The irony is that genuine self-acceptance, real peace, doesn't come from punishing yourself into a regimen. Sometimes, it's the opposite, it's learning to let go, to actually respect your own needs and limits, and to stop viewing every single thing you do as an obstacle to be conquered. So much of the push in self-help tries to cover up an underlying truth. Sometimes, you're allowed to not be doing anything extraordinary, just living a simple life with its normal highs and lows. Self-acceptance doesn't mean stagnation, it's not settling. It's choosing to respect where you are now without the compulsion to change just to meet an external idea of better. And think about the language we use, too, in self-help, constantly aiming to overcome ourselves, to fix ourselves. Fix what, exactly? What if you're already okay? What if the point isn't to become someone you're not, but to let go of all the noise about who you're supposed to be? The best self-help, the rare kind that actually brings value, helps you uncover who you are under all these layers of supposed to. But that's subtle, not something you can monetize so easily. And that's why it gets overshadowed by all the louder voices. So, maybe the path out of toxic self-help isn't about abandoning the idea of growth, but choosing a different lens for it. Growth that doesn't make you feel small or broken, but encourages you to be more compassionate, to give yourself a little more grace. It's not about being optimized, but about being whole, whatever that looks like for you. And maybe, instead of asking, how can I be better, we should start asking, what do I actually need? Sometimes, the most profound improvement is learning to like the person you already are, without needing to transform every inch of your life. Maybe we'd all feel a little more helped if we were taught to tune out the noise telling us we need fixing, and instead learn to listen to ourselves a little more. Self-help, when it's real, is quiet, intimate, and profoundly individual. It's not another checklist, it's just being with yourself, accepting that the journey is winding and, sometimes, doesn't need a guide. That's not the version of self-help that sells books, but maybe it's the one that truly helps.